Welcome everyone to the What's Your Problem podcast, a podcast where we speak about everything, anything, and I don't know what I'm doing to be honest, but we just, I'm flagging it. I've been flagging all the episodes. Thank you to everyone that's been watching our previous episodes. We've been getting some amazing feedback, some good conversations on YouTube and TikTok. It's been decent. It's been very, very decent. So today we've got a very different episode. It's someone who you may have heard of, you may not have heard of, but you're definitely going to know who she is after this episode. We're going to be having an open conversation. It's not really directed at anything. It's going to be a very, very open conversation in the sense of, let's see what's happening today. Let's see what's happening tomorrow. What's the plans of the future? And let's find out what she's been up to over the past year or so from TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is. And let's find out about her. And I'm sure you've got a lot of questions as well. So make sure you hit them in the comment section. And there's one plea that I've got, and I see bare people doing this all the time, but and I'm gonna have to annoy you because this is all self-funded. We don't get paid to do this, I'm giving you content for free. So all I need you to do is subscribe. That's all I need you to do. It's free. You don't have to pay for it, All right, if you have to pay for your internet, I get that, but look, just press subscribe. And if you're already subscribed to, like, I don't know, what's everyone listening to, like maybe KSI or Drake, but he don't know who you are, and the possibility of me replying to you is high. So just press subscribe, please. Don't be a pagan, just do the thing. But let's get straight into this now. I've got Shaheen with me today. Hi Shaheen.
Everyone. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. What's been happening?
Nothing much, just chilling. I'm just happy to be here.
No, I appreciate you coming, taking the journey from south to north.
Indeed.
That's it. How was your journey?
Not bad. Just a little bit of traffic coming, but you know what? It was totally worth the journey because I haven't been Enfield in such a long time.
Well, you know about this area, yeah?
I know Enfield quite well. Yeah, I used to have friends that when we went to university and whatnot. Well, they went to university. I didn't, but they moved here.
Okay.
And then obviously we've ventured out now. So
this is Shaheen. For those that don't know you, tell us a little bit like who you are and what you do.
Well, I am trying to get myself into stand-up comedy because that's always been a dream of mine. Actually, my brother's dream. He passed away, unfortunately, but that's something that he wanted to do. I never saw myself doing it, but sometimes, I bring a vibe to a lot of people. That person that walks in and everybody wants to be around because you just bring such positive vibes. So I always would make people laugh. So I'm a single mum, right? I got divorced at a young age, and that's a stigma in our community. But I just wanted to start talking about those things that are brushed under the carpet. So me bringing the vibe that I do, being a single mum, inspiring young girls, and being funny at the same time. People said, why don't you use that as a platform to get the audience and start talking about things that we're not really supposed to as a brown community? And I've been doing it for just over 2 years now, and wow, the support that I've got, not just from ladies, from men as well, like yourselves, who've picked up my content and have gone, you know what, she's actually got a point. And that's pretty much what I do. So
that's kind of reason why I reached out to you as well, because I felt like you had a point, but there's always someone that will disagree with you.
100%.
And something that I realized with this podcast is there's so many people that agree, there's so many people that disagree. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes you're right, sometimes I'm wrong, and vice versa. I feel it's important for everybody to have their kind of opinion heard, irrespective of how you feel about it. So like certain podcasts that we've done, people have been like, yeah, but it's like the 21st century, it's 2022. And I'm like, cool, I get that. But these guys were brought up here and this is how it's done there. And some people would say like, but that's just how it is. And some people are like, I don't want to hear that. That's just how it is. I want the change because this is what I want.
Absolutely.
And I agree with that, but I also disagree with that because, cool, that's the change that you want.
But is that what you want?
Exactly.
Or what everybody else wants?
Or everybody else around you wants. Because let's say, for example, what I want, maybe not what my parents want because they're from back home. So it's sometimes about finding that balance as well. And I find it hard to sometimes, especially with the Asian community, is to find a middle ground in saying, cool, this is how it's done. And it's always, I feel like it's left or right. There's no in the middle. Absolutely. Like we can't ever come to like an agreement in the sense of this is how it's done, or say, all right, cool, it's like this, but these guys are like this. But it doesn't mean that we should not talk, if you know what I mean, or attack each other. And I feel like I see that a lot in your content.
The thing is, I've got a lot of people who disagree with what I say simply because, again, these are topics that a lot of people are scared to talk about. Now, I'm not asking you to change. I'm asking you to consider. And the reason why I do talk about it is because there's so much unjust happening within the community and the culture that needs to be addressed. Like, I remember I made a TikTok where I said, I wish there was a HR department for our community because I swear to God, I'll be flagging that red button like, this is incorrect, this is not right. But again, you know, my mum is from back home and she wears the full hijab and, you know, she's got certain beliefs, which I respect, I really do. But there are things that are happening which can come across quite cruel or unjust or not fair. Now, fair enough, you were raised in that way and that's all you know, but there's no harm in adapting. There's no harm in educating. There's no harm in opening your mind a little bit. No one's asking you to completely change and drop your culture or your traditions. No one. I love my culture. You've seen me do so many Bollywood, songs and whatnot because I love it.
Yeah.
I love the tradition. I don't like certain things in the
do
culture.
all of that. Take me back to who you are, 10-year-old Shaheen, and tell me about where you're from and...
Right, so I was actually born in Africa,
okay.
So that's where my family's from. So my mum's Indian Muslim, and my dad's of mixed heritage. So there's a bit of Arab, there's a bit of black in him. And growing up and I was fatherless, so it was my mum practically bringing me up, and she's done a superb job, and I love her and admire her so much. But you know, whereas I grew up in her household, a lot of my cousins were very much so. I've got a mum, I've got a dad, you're an outsider, plus on top of that, you're mixed heritage. So I was treated quite poorly. But then growing up, you've always been told to just shut up and get on with it and deal with it. And then it became a norm to be treated a certain way. And then that guilt of being told, well, you are this way, so you almost deserve it. So growing up, I was so negative. And there was so much happening at home, so much happening at school. I always used to just bring that negativity and thinking I almost deserved this sort of treatment. And it's worse when you're in that community of people treating you that way. So for a long time, I dealt with it. I tried my best to be that perfect child, the perfect teenager. Then I rebelled at 15, 16. I had enough. I said, I don't like this. It just doesn't feel right. Being treated a certain way doesn't feel right.
What was actually happening other than like people saying that, you know, you deserve this, or you making you feel like you deserved it? What was happening? Like, what was making you feel like, you know what, I feel different?
It was just like, for example, you know, you get your parents saying these things like, oh, because you did something wrong, Allah's punished you, God's punished you. So for a long time, I'd be like, yeah, God's punishing me. Oh my God, I'm being punished. I've done something wrong. But then I'll be like, I'm only 10 years old. What have I done wrong?
Yeah.
What does a 10-year-old do wrong that God's punishing me so severely?
So who was telling you that? Like, your mum?
Your mum would say it, you know, mum would say it, my stepdad would say it. So again, family members would say it. Almost projecting, rather than making you love the religion, they're making you be scared of the religion.
Do you think that the scare tactic is the best tactic? Because
Not
that's the
at all.
most
Not
common tactic that
it's
all
so
people
common
use.
and I get why they use it, but projecting fears on a young child as they grow up builds trauma. And I can say that from personal experience. It gave me anxiety growing up as a child. It gave me depression growing up as a child. Like, I was constantly living in fear. There was a time I didn't want to leave my house because I'm scared that even if I look at a guy, like, I remember once, you know, my mum, I'll get punished. You know, if a guy looks at me, I'll get punished. Like, why? These are children. Their brain is growing. You need to educate them, not scare them.
You know, like, I understand you totally, and our parents were from a different generation in the sense of, and the countries that our parents were from, it's also very, very different. So whether it be a South Asian country, African country, wherever it is, mainly like these countries that are from non-European countries, it's always been a sense of fear because scaremongering has a big thing in those countries. And not just that, a lot of stuff has happened to them in those times, and because if you didn't put fear in it and you gave them the kind of the balance of saying this might happen, or you know, maybe giving that space of, you know, doubt, If someone's got doubt of, you know what, maybe I should leave and maybe I should wear and look like this out in those countries, in those times, they may have been like, no, you shouldn't even be thinking that. You should not do it because you could be beaten up or you could be, you know, arrested or whatever it is. The times were different. So I understand back in those days why it was like that. But coming to the UK and not having a lot of things, it does take a toll on us as young 100%. People. And it definitely has caused trauma to a lot of people without them even knowing. But how was it like in South London then as a young, let's say, African Indian girl?
Well, I had it quite rough because obviously when I came to this country, my English wasn't so great. I was, I believe, 6 or 7. And, you know, going into a class full of English people. Yeah.
Was it full like English people like in the class as well?
Yeah, I think a few Asians at that time, but fully English people. And trying to express, because I've always been a creative child, but trying to express myself in a different language was completely difficult. And then again, you know, I'm very sporty for a girl. Like, I like activities. I like scuba diving, basketball, football. I'm there. I'll do it. And I wouldn't let, because me being a female, stop me from achieving what my brothers have achieved, you know? And mum would always, again, scare me. Girls don't do this. Girls should cook and clean. Girls, you know. And I remember once I really got, I'm not going to say the word, but I was punished severely because I lied and I went to a basketball game and I played and I won.
Okay.
Do you know what? I probably was a rebel growing up, and you can say that I had animosity towards my mum at that time, at that stage, because I just didn't get it.
Is that the most rebel thing you did though? Is go to a basketball game?
No.
That's what we need to know. That's what I'm here for. Tell me.
I started rebelling. I got myself into basically, you know, there was a lot of issues going on at home, and I don't want to go too deep into it, because if my mum comes across this, I don't want her to feel like I've put the issues out there. But the rebel stage happened when you've been so good and you're constantly being compared to your cousins, or you're constantly being compared to other people's kids, and you're like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm studying, I'm going to school, I just want to play basketball, or I want to go swimming, I want to do extracurricular activities, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then it just got too much, and then obviously there was some issues at home, and you know, certain things were said that won't amount to anything. Yeah, girls like you will always end up one way, and the names that were being slandered at that point, and it plays a trick on your mind. And it came to a stage where I started doing those things that they said that I will end up becoming.
I do feel like that is it, because I've definitely had that. Yeah. But like, I know guys definitely have this stuff. You're not going to amount to nothing. You're just going to be another road guy, or you're just going to become a builder or something. Like
exactly.
Like,
and to be honest with you, now that I'm grown up and I've got friends of all sorts of you know, work industry that they're doing, they're still people. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter if you work in Tesco's or you're a builder or a toilet cleaner. You've got a job. Well done.
Yeah, of course.
You know what? Well done. You're providing. You're doing something in your life. So I wouldn't look at you whether you're rich or poor. To me, we're gonna end up in the same way when we die.
Yeah.
You know, same grave, same coffin. If you're a Muslim, obviously, if you have other rituals, however you die the same way.
Yeah. It's the thing is with the whole culture side of things. I mean, a lot of people get mixed up with religion and whatnot, but it's also another talking point in the sense of, if there's something that I've seen which is really weird, and you know, I don't want to make this analogy out of ignorance, but I am very ignorant in this sense, and I'm gonna have this conversation because I didn't have this. We've had another divorcee on this podcast, and we asked a lot of questions, and it made me think more questions after I watched the episodes. Okay. And she told me that her mum was divorced before. Okay. And she's also divorced. So I'm like, I'm seeing there's a lot of trend with that. Like, mom's been divorced, or someone in the family's been divorced, and then they end up divorcing the same way. And do you feel like you've had the same kind of issues that your mom has had as a divorcee?
I do have I agree. I agree that whatever you are brought up can have a role in how your outcome becomes, and that's why it's very important as parents to try and give your children a healthy environment for them to adapt and grow, because that becomes a norm. And that I have seen that there have been times where I've been so at my lowest, and I've gone, oh my God, my life is ending up like my mom.
Yeah.
And that's not what I wanted. I didn't want, like, not that there was anything wrong. Her story is completely similar but completely different to mine.
Yeah.
I don't want my life like that. But there is a pattern in the women in my family where a lot of them are single moms, or something's happened to the men in our family, they've died. It's like a curse, you know, either divorced or widowed.
Yeah.
And the majority of the women who are very strong in my family have had that, and I can see it's a pattern. And I'm trying so hard to swing that around, but I just feel like, oh my God, is this a curse? You know?
Yeah, I mean, you would think that if it happens often, but it's like, I wouldn't see it as a curse personally. Like, I don't want to sound too black magic, and I don't really believe. Personally, I know it's there, but I don't really want to believe in it. Like in that
you
sense.
Are what you attract. You are right. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for the situations that I have had to endure and become. Now you've got two choices in life. Either you let certain things F you up completely and you become a rebel and go down the wrong hole, or you lift yourself up and say, you know what, this has happened to me. Fine. What am I going to do different about it? How am I going to help people? How am I going to make sure this doesn't happen to other people?
Yeah, of course.
You know, and then you pick. God's given us a choice. He's always said that you've got free will.
Well, your situation is totally. You've got a lot more responsibility as well, in the sense of you have a child as well.
I do.
You're thinking for two people, not just one person. So, do you think that this has had a lot of effect on your
I wouldn't be who I am. But first of all, I wouldn't be who I am, or wouldn't find the motivation to do what I do if I didn't have my boy. As soon as I held him, I knew that this is a responsibility. I need to do something. I need to be the greatest mum for him, because I don't want him to go through what I did. But yes, obviously being a young mum, I had him just turned 18.
Okay, so he was quite young.
Very young. You know, it's like a child having a child.
And
I've winged parenthood. I swear to God, I don't know how I've gone. Oh my God, I got away with this. Cool, you know. The beginning stages of raising him was very difficult for me because I was so young, and I think being a divorcee myself, and you know, having to see my son go through a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that we went through. Like, for example, my house burnt down, and you know, we had to live in a hostel, and whatever was left got flooded. And I was like, why is this poor boy having to go through these things? He doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that. But then yet again, the more I'm trying to get him out of it, the more something is just sucking us back in. And like, he saw things that a child shouldn't have to see. I would never regret not having my child. I regret having him as young as I did.
But the things like your house burning, that's not your fault though.
That wasn't, no. It was a proper accident. But again, you know, alhamdulillah, or touch words, life has changed a lot.
Yeah, since that time. Yeah, I mean, that's why we have these conversations as well, because a lot of people talk about the struggles that they've been through, and it's important that people know, because I'm sure all the people that sit there badgering your comments, they don't know that your house has been burnt down. You've been looking after this kid as a kid. So like, how long was you married for then? So
I got married to Case's dad just before turning 17.
Okay.
And so Case is my son, and about 19 we went our separate ways. Again, we were two kids trying to have a kid.
Yeah.
We weren't ready.
He was young as well.
He was very young. Yeah. But he was only 2 years older than me at that point. Okay. So he's a 19-year-old. I'm just turned 17.
Was it school? Sweetheart
college sweetheart thing. Okay. But again, I didn't want to actually get married, and I made my feelings quite clear, as vocal as I am. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't mind an engagement, but I really, because I wanted to do law, and that was my my dream, to become a lawyer. I was like, I'm too young. At that point, I'm telling everybody I'm too young, but I really wanted to please my mum, because I was going through such a rebel stage in life. I just wanted to do anything that will make her happy, and I said, okay, this is what you want. You know, I was so young. Will you love me again? You know, I just want to be loved, kind of thing. But at 19, we went our separate ways, which was very hard for Case's dad, because you know, he had a home, and I blame myself a lot. But it was a decision that I didn't want two kids. I'm the one pretty much working, coming home, cooking, cleaning, and he's a great dad. Never knock him down. He's an amazing father till this day, but it just wasn't right. I just woke up and I was like, I can't see myself with this person, because I personally think he deserves better.
But you was at that stage where you change. Like, I feel like changing. My mind changes a lot as well. When I say a lot, every 3 years I'm like, I'm taking things differently, and like,
what you want at 16 is not what you want at 18. What you want at 18 is not what you want at 21, 25, 30, 35. You know, things change. You grow. You become wiser.
Yeah, and things around you change a lot as well. So it's like we kind of need to take those things up. So it's like, as much as people are for this young marriage stuff, in this day and age, it does have... I'm not knocking it. No. If you want to do it, do it.
It's part of the deen, right? if you're following Islam properly, then yes, that's the correct way of doing it. You should do it.
But like at the same time, it's tough in this day and age for people to have that balance now. And to have that pressure of like doing a career or studying and then having a house and
I think, I know this sounds bad, and a lot of people from our culture will hate me for saying this, but because of my experience, please don't get married too young. Just don't do it. Get engaged, study, become something. Both women and men do make a career out of yourself, not because you never know what's going to happen, but when kids get involved, things get technical.
Yeah.
And you need to give your children a healthy environment where both parties have got the right mind to have those kids.
It's hard to say this. I know this will probably it's going to be a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
But was there ever a time where you was just like, I can't bother for this. This is too long, man. I want to give up.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I wanted to pack my bags and run. I remember I think his was about 6-7 months, and I just went off, completely switched off. Mentally. I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm too young. And this is why I say don't have kids young.
What did you want to do then?
Like, I wanted to live my life. My friends were at uni. My friends were having fun. My friends were doing what early adults early adults do, and I'm sitting there having a baby. And obviously people are going to be like, well, that's your fault, you chose to have a child. There are circumstances or situations as to why I had case. No one will know that, because nobody will sit down with you and ask what actually happened. People see a person living a certain way and they're like, oh yep, she's bad or he's bad. No one wakes up one day and decides that they want their life a certain way.
That's your TikTok, that's where I found you, actually, was on TikTok. And I was like, you know what, and I've actually been following you for time.
Really?
Yeah. For at least, I want to say a year now.
Wow.
So I was like, I knew this conversation will come one day, but I was like, I wait to wait for the right time, in the sense of until we've got something to talk about.
Absolutely.
Because I was a little bit confused as to what your story was. And I still don't know what your story is, because this conversation is going to hold different way. When you told me that, cool, I guessed it, you're divorcee, your mom was divorced, cool, that's the same conversation I've had before. Now that you're telling me that you've got a good relationship with your previous husband and you're still seeing the son and this and that, what is your problem on TikTok? You got some mad issues. Why you got beef with everyone on TikTok?
Do you know what it is? That works. That's how I get my audience. Don't forget, I'm going to get myself into stand-up comedy. How else was I going to grasp my audience if I did the typical, let me put some makeup on and let me look pretty, because everybody's doing that.
You find a way, you're like Wiley, you just find a way to just annoy everyone in a certain way by saying certain things
that they're not ready to hear about. And obviously at first I got a lot of backlash. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? Why are you saying this? You just hate men. No, I don't. I have had bad experience after cases, that, don't get me wrong. And yes, I use that to create content. But I don't actually have, like, you've met me now in person. You see how calm I am. And a lot of people that have now finally met me outside of TikTok, they're like, oh my God, you're so humble. You're so down to earth. That's really who I am. And
I don't really see you as like a horrible person on TikTok, though, I'll be honest.
I just say things that people are scared to talk about. I just say things that people don't want to hear. I just say things which...
It does give me...
The truth hurts, though, doesn't it, though?
Truth does hurt. It does. Truth hurts. Sometimes people are not... ready to have that conversation yet. But I do feel like sometimes with your content, it's the kind of the men are trash vibes.
You know what? That's because those videos go viral.
Yeah.
If you watched all my content, there is so many things I talk about. And when there's deep subjects that I talk about, that doesn't go viral. Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole different thing, though. Like, I feel like the most nonsense stuff goes viral.
Yeah, literally.
And the stuff that means stuff. Like, this podcast won't go viral. But you saying something mad on this podcast will go viral.
Absolutely.
I could take out a soundbite of this video of you saying something that is totally unrelated to this podcast. that will go viral. Then people might watch it.
Exactly.
We might have to think of something. By the way.
Do you want me to trash men?
Yeah, something like that.
Considering I'm sitting with two guys, I shouldn't do that.
That's it.
But yeah, so it's just the algorithm. Unfortunately, I talk about a lot of things, and unfortunately, and also, a lot of guys get irated when I say certain things, especially South Asian men. But the way I see it, if the shoe fits, it's gonna hurt you.
What's the maddest thing you've heard in the comments?
Oh my God, you're a guy. I'm gonna beat you up.
Nah.
Yeah, I've had death threats. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna actually go for your son.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna go beat up your son. You talk like a man. You're uneducated.
Yeah.
You're illiterate, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, you have no idea about me or my journey or where I come from. But again, you need the haters. The haters watch you more than people who support you.
Yeah, that's true. At the same time, though, I say this as somebody who gets similar kind of haters, or maybe not on the level that you get it, because I don't really talk about that kind of stuff. But with the little hate that I do get, I don't want that attention. How do you deal with that attention?
It comes with it, Kai. It's part and parcel. Look at the big, we're nowhere near the big celebrities out there. And you've interviewed, I've seen your Instagram, you've interviewed, quite bigger celebrities. And they'll tell you, it just comes with it.
How have been, like, let's say, like, your family or your friends and seeing you doing, like, TikTok stuff? Like, have you ever had any backlash from them?
Oh, yeah. My whole family stopped talking to me at one point.
They still don't. Nah.
They still don't. At first, when I first started, they saw the comical side of things, because they knew that was my personality from young. And then it was like, oh my God, you're bringing shame to the family. Because I got most meme pages are very supportive, and they found my humor humorous, and they've laughed. And there was a couple of other guys meme pages who were very upset that I said certain things about men, and I shouldn't, and as a woman I should know my place. And they put me up on a pedestal to embarrass me. And to really cuss and diss me out. And obviously it was a big meme page. It went viral. Like, we're talking not just TikTok, but Instagram, Facebook. So my family reading that, you can imagine, as having brothers or cousins in the family, they're like, this isn't right. Why are you talking about my sister like that? But instead of seeing that the problem was them, I became the problem.
Video still there?
Still there.
Is it on your page as well?
Yeah.
What was the video?
It was just there's quite a few. So one of them was like, how are you gonna go meet a girl smelling like your mum's curry?
Yeah.
And
it was not that deep though.
It wasn't that deep. It was like, at least change your clothes or put some deodorant on, and that they just took it the wrong way. And again, like you said, oh my God, you love annoying people. I wasn't trying to. I'm genuinely just having bants. I'm joking. And these guys were just like, she's just constantly coming for men. Oh, I'm gonna put her up there, I'm gonna embarrass her, and I'm gonna tarnish her. And then they started calling me names. I've never met you in my life. How do you know I'm that name?
Yeah, but at the same time, I can see why people get annoyed at it, kind of thing, because it's like, people would, I personally think people would say, when you're kind of showing hate towards your own people.
Do you know what? I don't hate my people. That is I don't have a bad bone in my body to hate anyone, to be honest with you. I'm very forgiving, and if God forgives, who am I to hold a grudge? I just dislike the way they act. I dislike the culture that they still live in. I dislike how they treat other people. And I dislike that they think with all of that and all the things that they do, that they're entitled to treat people a certain way. And my dislike and discomfort came from the way they view divorced women. If you go back into history, divorced women were regarded quite highly. And the fact that they pick and choose religion, and they emphasize virgin women, and I just find it's repulsing. So I don't hate my people, I hate the actions. I don't hate, I dislike. It gives me discomfort that they pick and choose as and when they should use religion. What's that
got to do with them smelling like curry, though?
No, that was just a joke. That was just a joke, because basically I remember I went on a date.
That's kind of what I was talking about. But you got deep with it.
I went deep with it. I'm so sorry. I thought you were talking about like my no. So as soon as I tell a guy I'm divorced or I'm a single mom, I feel like the younger guys or guys that have never been in a relationship with a woman who's divorced, they see you as prey. and they target you, but in the way of, I'm going to use and abuse her, which is so wrong, because again, I'm someone's mom, I'm someone's sister.
Yeah.
So I make a joke out of it, but I put the point across that we're still human beings, just like the way your virgin wife you should be treated is the same way that you should not look at us any different, because we're still women. You know, you're just lucky that your mum and your dad did not get divorced. So if your mum got a divorce and she had 4 kids like yourself, who are all boys, and a man comes and takes advantage of your mum, how would you feel?
Yeah, of course.
You know, so that is why...
I guess because they've never been put in that situation as well. They'll never know.
Lack of education.
Luckily as well.
Yeah, very lucky. Nobody wants to wake up one day and decide that I want a divorce. Who in their right mind would want that? But if you don't understand a person's situation, don't abuse a person.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I get worried in the sense of, especially like, and I'm posing this question to you because if someone sees your content online and they've got some kind of question about themselves and you've kind of indirectly answered that question and something bad happens, do you ever think about that? I do
worry. My concerns are, this is how I dealt with it and I've come out shining. That may not be the case for you. You know, I always make it clear at the end of the day, you do what makes you happy and you follow your heart. I can't make, and your brain of course, I can't make that decision for you. You have to consider that my upbringing is completely different to yours, my family background is completely different to yours. How is your family going to take it? But I always say to them, wherever there's a problem, there's a solution.
Because someone like, let's say for example, I have you on today and someone is considering leaving their husband and they see you and they're like, oh, you know, she's doing it, so why can't I do it? Which is true. But somebody else might turn around and say, you've now opened the door for the doubt that they've got in their head for them to go ahead with this action. That might not be right. You shouldn't highlight this.
Let me tell you this, right? Because I did get married second time, and that was a horrible relationship where there was a lot of physical and mental abuse involved. And I was told quite a few times, you've already had a divorce, don't do it again. You can't. You've got a kid. He looks after your kid. That's it. You can't walk away. But when your life is at risk, those are the reasons why I would say yes, push for a divorce, because you'd rather have a divorced daughter than a dead daughter. You'd rather have a divorced daughter with a kid than a dead daughter, husband in prison, and a very, very traumatized child. Does that make sense? So there are exactly, and there's elements as to, I've had people ask me, I want to leave my husband, and then I've asked, what's the reason? Oh, he didn't clean the dishes, he didn't wash the dishes. I'm like, really? Yeah. I've literally gone, you want to leave your husband because he didn't wash the dishes? Hun, go get therapy, go get counselling, and fix your marriage. And I have bluntly said that. Because I'm just blunt. I always answer questions to the best of my ability. But if you are being brutally abused, I spoke to another girl yesterday, and I think you should have her on your podcast, as her story is deep. Like, her husband got addicted to cocaine, and he locked her in their room for 5 days, beating her with a cricket bat whilst getting high at the same time. Now you can imagine how extreme that situation would be. He didn't even let her use the toilet. She had to use her daughter's diapers to urinate and whatnot, because he didn't let her leave that room for 5 days straight. And the only way she escaped was, she prayed that day. The 5th day, she couldn't handle it, and her face, body, everything was beaten up. She showed me the pictures, and she prayed to God and said, that's it, I'm done, kill me, I'm ready to go. And luckily he fell asleep, and that's how she done a runner. Wow. She ran out the house, grabbed the kid, ran. So those stories, then yes, 100% hate me, put me on a witch stick and burn me alive, but I would say leave. Yeah, I mean,
well, why should anyone deal with that anyways?
Exactly.
No human should deal with that regardless anyways.
Exactly. The fact that you took it upon yourself to go and abuse somebody else, what gave you the right?
You're saying that you've been through some physical and mental abuse as well.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're comfortable telling us, like, what's kind of stuff that you've
Absolutely.
You've dealt with.
Like, so when I first got with this person, everything was amazing, because I was like, oh wow, like, he loves the fact that I'm a single mom. And
how old was you at this point?
Just turned 21 okay. At that point. Still very young. Yeah. Very easily to brainwash basically, and got love bombed. This is a typical narcissistic situation, and narcissism is a big thing, guys. Like, if you don't know anything about it, please, because you can have narcissists that your partners, your family members, people you work with. I could be a narcissist, and I hope that I'm not, but you never know who you meet that are narcissists.
Check out her content online to see if she's a narcissist.
They think I'm a narcissist. I am not. I'm an empath.
Okay, cool.
A very educated one. But yeah, so within 6 months of the nikah, like everything, the hitting started. So it was just a smack. And whereas because I've had a very traumatic childhood, you think this is okay, she's forgiving. I've seen it happen within family members. You just think, it's a part of a relationship, so you ignore the signs.
So you was basically getting hit, and you thought that's normal.
Yeah.
So when you was getting a little smack, what was it like on the head? How was it happening?
But you slap on the face, smack across the head, a little bit of shoving and pushing. I was like, okay, fine. And then the cheating began. So every time I'll catch him cheating, I now know I'm going to get a beating out of it, because that cheating is also my fault. If you was a good enough woman, I wouldn't cheat on you. So not only am I getting physically abused, I'm getting mentally tortured. That the cheating was also my fault, and I deserve it. So it goes back to, you deserve it, this is your fault. So, the beatings then became where he's actually having physical fights like I'm a bloke. We're not talking just about smack anymore. We're talking choke slam, talking punches, beating left, right, centre, being locked in my own flat, not being allowed to go out with my friends, clothes being torn, cut, my phone's been confiscated, even though that person was a guilty person. But again, because I was like, I've come out of a divorce, I don't want to do this. I actually did fall in love, and they say love is blind. I'm telling you, that during those phases, my love was blind. Did you feel like all the things were your fault at that time? 100%. It was my fault. Maybe I shouldn't have snooped around. Maybe I shouldn't have gone and the worst was when he cheated with me with a really good friend of mine. They both said that nothing extra happened, but that will impact me. I have trust issues now, and hence the reason why my topics sometimes come across like I hate men. But having to go through all of that, I don't hate men. I love men. I have a son, right? But those kind of men do need to be spoken about. And there are women who do the same thing as well. So I'm so glad that Johnny Depp has done what he's done. Yeah. That's actually something that I see a lot as well, is you don't just say men. You also say women do this, women do that, because they also need to. And they do it. It's true. I just don't feel like men have the same energy to as much to put it out online. They don't. Number one. Number two, don't forget, even having a son myself, like I can see from a young age, there's a thing called pride and ego that you have. Yeah. Right? And he will bottle it rather than talk about his feelings, because men are not supposed to cry. I think that's so silly. Yeah. I feel like it makes you more of a man if you let it out. It makes you more of a man if you talk about it. It makes us understand you. Yeah. We're not men. Yeah, and it's communication. It's communication. Absolutely. So when you was, let's say, going back to what you were saying, like you was like physically abused, mentally abused. How long did that go on for? 8 years. So a long time. And what was like? How bad did it get? Nearly broke my nose. He tore a blood vessel in my side. I think it was like literally had a red eye and a black eye. Was it just you two living together? No, my son was there, but the abuse was never in front of my son. But surely he would have picked that stuff up. Like if you're physically getting abused like that, he must have been like, yo, Mum, how did this happen? He did, and I would lie and say I fell down the stairs. Like, I remember once I went to my mum's house and it was like covered in bruises, literally covered in bruises. At that point, he'd hit me in places where it wasn't visible. But then obviously when it became visible, it was like literally going into work with a black eye, or just traumatized, just upset, working. I let that affect my work, crying all the time. So yeah. So what about your mum? Like, did she not clock on as well? Absolutely, she did. She knew. She knew, and she was supportive to a certain extent. But then yet again, there's always that. Well, you chose the guy. Yeah, you chose this. You chose this guy. You chose this life. You can't leave him. But when it just became so worse, like her seeing that I'm very, very unhappy, and my mum actually did go to my in-laws' house and said that this is what your son's doing, and my father-in-law at that time was like, well, cheating happens, you just have to deal with it.
He just made it normal.
Yeah.
Where was he from?
They're from Pakistan.
So they're Pakistani, so kind of similar backgrounds as well. And he still was like, it's normal. It's not normal though.
Yeah, and I lost
no matter
it.
What
this is where I knew my
from.
strength was coming out, because I lost at that point. And I think this is where this guy was like, oh my God, she's now speaking out, because I was like, okay, cool, cheating is normal. Let me go do that to your son. I should.
So what did they say then?
Get out the house. Get out.
So it's one rule for one person for the other.
Yeah, that's it. This is why I say I don't hate my people. I hate this. Pick and choose.
I don't feel like that's normal though.
Why is it normal?
But I don't feel like it's normal.
But it is made normal.
But it's happening, definitely. I won't say it's not. I'm not going to be blind and say it's not happening or it's not happened, because it definitely has. But I look at my demographic of people around me, and from what I know, because we don't know what's happening in people's houses, from what I know, I don't feel like it's normal. But are you going to tell me that I'm wrong now?
It happens a lot more than you think. And a lot of the times, again, I've heard this story, and I don't know how much I'm going to ask you actually, but I've heard guys go for girls who are very easy to manipulate or vulnerable or young, because that way they can do certain things and they won't be questioned. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Or is it certain type of guys?
I feel like yes and no.
Okay.
I feel like the culture has maybe made that, that whole, if she's younger, she's not going to chat too much shit, and then we can just live easier lives, because they know that. And I don't fully disagree with this. If somebody is like a bit more, let's say, dominant in the sense of, I've got a little bit more knowledge, I can guide you, and we can do this together. I'm cool with that. So in that sense, I'm like, all right, someone's a few years older than you and they've got a bit more understanding than you, they'll support you in a sense of, all right, maybe you shouldn't go for this kind of job because it's not going to be good for your career. Guidance. Then I agree with it. Absolutely. In that sense.
But not when you use your knowledge and wisdom as a form of abuse.
Yeah, as fuel to do something else is a bit mad. To take
advantage of somebody or manipulate the situation.
I feel like that's where it's kind of evolved into now, though. He's kind of taking it to that point now, in the sense of it's got to a point where the dominance is maybe too much. And it's probably been like that for a while. But like I said, I don't know what's happening in people's houses.
I think
But also, I see that in drug dealers a lot as well. Like drug dealers always have like these like really young wives or girlfriends, and then
because they can do anything and everything, and because the wives and girlfriends are so heavily dependent on this person, they don't know any better, so they're just gonna have to deal with it. Just suck it up, deal with it. Guys going to prison for 7-8 years, deal with it. That is the other side people don't talk about as well. Exactly.
It's like the whole kind of, if someone goes jail, kind of throw away the key kind of thing. They feel like if someone's a bad seed, they should just leave it.
Wash their hands off it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's the same
or make
thing.
Excuses for them.
Exactly.
We have a lot of women who are enablers, like mothers and sisters, who enable their brothers and let them. Because my brother, so what? Like, no, your brother's doing something wrong. If your husband did that to you, you're gonna sit there and if I said, so what?
But some of them are.
They
some of them are.
It's normal. So it's a normal cycle.
Yeah, but then that's where all the problems come, and then people like you get the hate online because of that mentality, isn't it? Tell us a joke.
But when you put me in a spot like that, I just can't. It just comes naturally.
I feel like a lot. I don't know who said it, but another comedian was like, when you tell people you're a comedian, they'll be like, "Go on then,
make us laugh." It doesn't come like that. It just comes naturally. But one of the things I did want to talk about was how I got stood up once, because I didn't get stood up, so I went on a date with a guy, but this time around I didn't write on my bio that I'm a single mom. I just wanted to see the reaction I get. So he literally sat down with him, and I said, look, he's like, oh wow, you're gorgeous, you're lovely, and I'm like, thanks, but I've got a secret. And he's like, oh gosh, what is it?
Imagine he probably thinks you just say I'm a man or something.
Yeah, but the way he reacted was worse. I should have just told him I'm a man. Because I said, I've got a son, I've got a child. My son is big. He doesn't need a father. As a matter of fact, he'll look at you and be like, I can be your dad. So I didn't tell him the age of my son. I just said I have a son. So his face went from brown to white, like Casper the Friendly Ghost, like he's seen a ghost. So he's like, oh, I'll be back. He went to the toilet and it dipped. Like he literally ran, and I was laughing, but to make myself feel better, and I'm like, I'm so intimidating that till this day he's still shitting himself. That's how intimidated he is.
How long ago was this?
This was about a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago. No. But yes, I'm going to I definitely will talk about that and make a joke about it. But yeah, we get treated so differently the minute a person finds out you're divorced or a single mom. You've been on
the dating websites and stuff?
No, I don't like them because you actually do meet some crazy people, man.
You've been on it before then?
I have, and I came off it straight away.
All right, cool. Well, anyway, thank you for coming. Shaheen, before you go, tell us where we find all your socials and stuff.
Definitely on TikTok. So Shaheeness is my name, SHAHEENSSS. So that's my Instagram and TikTok. Those are the two platforms that I use. I do have Snapchat, but please, I'm not giving that out.
Cool.
Because, even though it's the same name, because I will get guys talking crap to me, and I'm the last person you want to do that with. Because I will start talking to you like I'm your mum. So I'm like, don't behave yourself, okay?
Mum zone, that's a new one, isn't it?
That's it. I'm mum's. Oh my god, I've had that. You're a mum. I'm like, the same age as me. That's disgusting.
Cool. Make sure everyone follows up Shaheen, and if you want to see a part 2, we'll talk about something else different. Just hit it up in the comments. Follow us at Moving Famous, and Shaheen, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Till next time. Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. Take care. Bye.